Hey, Hawks Nation, back with another episode of the Hawks Nest podcast. This time, have the pleasure to talk to Hawks catcher Cory Meyer. Cory, so good to have you along. Nice to see you, man.
Heck yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate being on this.
Yeah, we love having you. Love and get to hear from some current players. And obviously for you, you got a very special kind of surprise a few weeks ago. I want to start there. Gary and Shane kind of surprised you a little bit after practice during the mini camp with a full contract. And for you, and I know it was kind of a surprise because you were originally expecting to be a practice player that would maybe come in case of an injury. So, I mean, what was your expectations coming into the season before you knew about that, and how much of a surprise to you was it when Shane and Gary presented you with that full-time contract?
Well, about 2 months ago is when I found out that I'd actually have an opportunity to start swinging a baseball bat again. Gary reached out to me, letting me know that he's the manager of the Boise Hawks, and there's a 25-man roster for 96 games. So for me, if I had an opportunity to be called up and if somebody went down, then I could jump into playing baseball again possibly, if things went well with all my body and all the injuries that I've been through. So after that, I picked up a baseball, started swinging in the cages, and the first couple swings were really rough, just hitting ground balls and just trying to remember like how to do this again, and my body picked it up pretty quickly. We were still affiliated with Boise State at the time, and we had a couple pitchers come out and throw live to us. And my first at-bat back in like a whole year, I hit a home run over dead center here at Memorial Stadium. And, you know, that kind of shocked me a little bit, and I think it shocked the coaches too, just because, you know, I really, at that point, only been swinging a bat for about a week off a tee, not seeing live pitching, and that was almost kind of like a flashback to when I came back at Washington State, my first at-bat back. In like an inter-squad scrimmage, I hit a home run also. So it was weird to basically have both those like situations occur again. So, and that just kind of showed me that I still have this. And, you know, I don't know, I'm not going to talk too highly about myself, but, you know, baseball's a big part about who I am and what I've always been about. And since I've been a little kid, like this is kind of just all I've dreamed about doing. And it all just kind of came back to me, and I'm just really grateful for that.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned all the time you've had to spend recovering, even before the opportunity that you got with the Hawks. Baseball in 2021 didn't really seem like it was going to happen for you. I know the Boise State program obviously got cut. You were trying to recover from 2 shoulder injuries that you sustained during that 2021 Boise season. So, I mean, how did you spend that year, and kind of what was the roller coaster, I want to say, I guess, of emotion from the injuries, the surgeries, the getting the year back with COVID eligibility? I mean, can you just talk me through like 2020 up to this point?
Yeah, wow. It was wild for me. I just try to keep myself motivated, and a lot of my old teammates at Boise State could say that I was the guy that sent out quotes trying to keep everybody motivated, even though that's probably not the best way to do it. But I'm a big quote guy. And one of the quotes that kind of stuck with me, like once our team all got cut, it's like adversity reveals the true character of a man. And so I kind of took that to heart every day, and I stayed motivated working out. And my one goal back when I first had my surgeries and knowing that I still had a team at Boise State was, I'm going to get in the best possible shape of my life after these surgeries and show people that, like, just hard work is going to pay off. And every single day I was working out or doing something to basically better myself, whether that's just as a person or my education at Boise State with my master's degree, or even with, like, my physical, like, strength and everything. And, you know, luckily it all paid off for me. And you know, God has a lot of stuff that he kind of threw at me this past year, but, you know, I just kind of stayed on my path, and good things worked out, and I'm just grateful for that.
And you mentioned coming back at Washington State earlier. I mean, the shoulder surgeries obviously weren't the first time you dealt with kind of a major injury. Where you had that back injury that me and you have talked about before, and has been obviously in many articles since you signed with the Boise State program. Maybe for people that don't know, you got injured, basically pinched a nerve in your back, powerlifting at WSU, had to spend basically a full season just trying to deal with the pain, ended up having back surgery. As painful as that whole situation was for you, I mean, in some ways it must have helped you with this past season, recovering from the shoulder surgeries, and then also the adversity of dealing with the program getting cut and trying to find a way or a place to play for this season. So, I mean, how much did dealing with that adversity at WSU kind of help you stay motivated and hungry for this opportunity that kind of fell into your lap, I guess you could say?
Oh, man, I was talking with Gary a little bit in the outfield before our season even started about this, and the things that, like, I've had to go through the past, like, 3 or 4 years, somebody might not, like, go through in their 40 years of life. And it's just, like, I've had a lot of life lessons already, and a lot of tests of who I am as a person. And, you know, I don't really know how to put it into words, because it was really tough for me going through all this. And the back surgery also, to have a possibility about being paralyzed and then having to come back from that and things turning out really well for me. And it allowed me to kind of look at everything optimistically and have a positive mindset of what I could go through and how things can turn out for me. So I think the back surgery was a huge lesson for me as a person and how I was going to deal with these shoulder surgeries. And it was just like another opportunity to basically rebuild myself from the ground up. And honestly, crazy enough, I was really excited to have these shoulder surgeries done, just because, you know, that was another chance for me to rebuild and make something of myself and show everybody that you can basically come back from nothing. And but I think a big part to all that is just the people I've had in my life, like my parents, and then Gary Van Tol and Shane Nelson, my trainer. Like, if I didn't have that support system and those kind of people in my life, I don't think I'd be here also. But, you know, that's a huge piece to it, is the people you have in your life, surrounding yourself with, your friends. And, you know, I just kind of owe it to all of them for where I'm at now.
Speaking of that support system, a couple of those guys obviously were the former members of the Boise State baseball team. Mm-hmm. You obviously got a chance this year to be reunited with a couple of them, like Jay Baggs and John Bouchel, who you didn't even really get to meet, but obviously Jay Baggs coming back, and a couple of others, Mitch Lyons, that maybe you hadn't seen in a while, Miles Harris. What was it like to walk into the clubhouse on day one for mini camp and see all those guys, the smiling faces again, and get to know that you're going to take the field with them one more time?
So in the fall, when we were still with Boise State, I wasn't playing baseball at the time because I thought my career was over here at that point, and I was just kind of recovering to get my shoulders healthy. And then the big plan was to be able to play catch with my kids someday and be able to be just a healthy human being. And so I saw Mitch Lyons and all these guys and Miles Harris basically every day. And then when Boise Hawks became a thing for me, and walked in the locker room on that first day after hearing about Jay Baggs, and his bag is in front of my locker. We're locker buddies right there, right next to each other, but his bag was in front of my stuff. I'm like, whose Evo Shield Arizona State bag is this? Right in front of my locker, like blocking my way. And I walk into Gary's office and I see Jay Baggs talking to him, and it just brought me back, because it's been over a year since I've seen him. And it was weird about it was, what's weird is that I saw these guys as soon as our season was cut, when we had a team meeting in that same clubhouse. And then after that, everybody kind of slowly went to their homes, but we still had a team at that time. And then finally, it was just all gone. Everything, the whole team, the people were gone. They all went back home, or they went to summer baseball while the pandemic was going. And to see Jay Baggs again, it just kind of blew my mind a little bit. It was weird. It brought me back to old times, because, you know, you see familiar faces like that, especially it being like a year ago, like almost to this day. Like, it's just so weird to see people like that again. But it seems like he's grown a lot in that time, and he looks really good on the mound, honestly. I know a little bit of things have changed for him, and he's kind of gone through his experiences at Arizona State. But, you know, it's just weird to walk in the locker room and not see blue and orange anymore, and just kind of see the Hawks colors, and then also see familiar faces. So, you know, it's an awesome opportunity, and I'm just grateful to have those guys back here too and see these guys.
Yeah, it's nice to have the familiarity of those dudes that you played with. But for your case and this team's case, I mean, you got to gel with everybody, especially as a catcher. It's your responsibility to be the team leader out there on the field defensively, and you have to handle a bunch of different personalities with the pitching staff. I've got a chance to meet some of the pitchers, and I can tell you that those personalities range. I'm sure you could tell me better than that, but how do you personally go about getting to know the guys that you didn't know, or you only really had about a week or so before the season started to get your head down and buckle in with all these guys? So how do you make those relationships, forge those relationships, and take care of your pitchers as a catcher behind the plate?
Oh, man, it's been wild already as it is, because, like, when you go to play for a new team, whether that's summer baseball in college or you jump to a new team, you have to learn all the different personalities and people and build those relationships with every single one of them. But now you're adding it as a professional standpoint of people from all over the world, and you might not be speaking the same language. So I remember having a mound visit the other day where I had Galindo come up and help translate to Herrera, and we had to figure out night signs and all that because he couldn't see my signs, but I had to have it translated over. So it's like these are just awesome experiences. Like I don't know where this is gonna pay off in my life, but I know it will. In the fact that I don't believe a lot of these people that have the chance to play professional baseball and meet all these people from all over the world are going to have the same life lessons as I'm having right now. Like these experiences, I hope they pay off, but I don't think I'm just really grateful to have this experience, to meet these people and go through these challenges of trying to get to know everybody from all over the world. I don't know how to put that into words, but just it's really cool. And I don't know. It's just people speak different languages, and it's just a completely different world in professional baseball.
Yeah, we got 5 different countries represented on the Hawks this year: the U.S., Canada, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. So, I mean, you got basically 3 Spanish-speaking predominant countries, and then obviously Miles Miller's the only Canadian, but Gary is a Canadian, and I'm sure those two love talking about the Great White North. You mentioned to being a student still, because I know you're going to school and getting your master's. You're in the Master's of Athletic Leadership program at Boise State. Did that affect your decision at all to come play for the Hawks? And also, compared to being an undergrad at Boise State, how different is it being a professional in a master's program versus being a student-athlete undergrad playing for the school's team?
So now I'm basically another student-athlete again, but now in a master's program. And the last couple of weeks, honestly, been pretty stressful with trying to figure out how I'm going to do a 96-game season with getting a graduate degree. And I had to go meet with my director, and he seemed really understanding of the situation. He wanted me to take care of my education and also keep chasing my dream of professional baseball. So they said they would work with me. So I'm just really lucky that kind of worked out in my favor. But this first road trip that we had to Utah kind of showed me what I'm going to have to do to prepare for starting my 2 summer courses here soon. And I'm going to have to wake up early in the morning, drink a bunch of coffee, and get my homework done before we're out at the field for however many hours a day. Because professional baseball, it's not like college at all, where you have these different times that you are allowed to be out at the field. You're there, and this is your job, and you basically are out at the field trying to do that and perfect your craft. And where really in college baseball, you're allotted this certain amount of time, and you have to put towards your education and all that. So I really have to balance and find this time to get all my things done. So it's going to be a challenge. I know it's going to be, but I'm going to try to take it on and do the best I can with that.
Oh, it's very exciting for you, Cory. And again, we're very excited to have you here with the Hawks, and I appreciate your time and you coming on and joining me.
Oh, for sure. I appreciate you having me too. This is awesome.